Hi, welcome to the stream. Hi, Michigan. Thank you for that streak. Jeez, 15 streams. Holy cow. Hi, Snappy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you guys are having an awesome Friday and ready for our stream. I'm not dating much tonight. You will see. You will see. But then we're gonna follow it up with some golf. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Let me go grab my cohort here tonight. My cohort of the moment is Michigan, and I will have more people as the night goes on. You know how it goes on community night. You're amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We got this big atmosphere. Gonna do things and stuff in my cat ode. Alright, Michigan, we are live.
You?
Yeah. Gonna do things and stuff. I've got my handy dandy palette. So, first of all, it's a handy dandy press and seal because this is a cheat code that I use. Cheat codes, hacks. Not just games. I'm gonna make a mess. I just know it. I'm gonna like throw paint at the canvas, but I don't have a studio for that, so that's not happening. Yeah, this is not gonna work for what I need. Let's try. But we'll put this little piece down. I'm not gonna waste it. And then I'll like tuck it in. The idea is to cover your
Me?
these things never cut like they're supposed to. This video still with that. See? We are live. Welcome.
Hello.
See if I can tear it properly this time. Trying my best to. This is not something I normally do standing up. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe I can't do still things standing up. Some people can't walk and chew gum at the same time, so maybe that's it. I wonder if that's actually true.
Oh, cool.
Say, hey, we walk and chew gum at the same time.
I think you just have to crease it first.
There. We are covered.
I mean, before you tear it.
Well, it's sticky on one side, so like
Crease it like against the lid. Then you tear it on the other side.
it has a blade that you have to cut it against.
I never liked how that
T!
blade was.
Welcome, T! Welcome to the stream! Thank you so much for the 24 months, 2 years! Thank you, man! Thank you for the 2 years! Michigan, thank you for the hype! Thank you! Thank you! Say hello. I wish the tail, like, was, I don't know, like, just stood out the whole time. Like, maybe you could put a wire in it, it would just be, like, hard.
Yeah, like
And it would be out, like, while I walked around. Yeah, like, while I walked around. But that would be bad, because I would forget, and I would go to sit down. Yeah.
Oh no.
Be like, oh! There's a snake in my boot.
Indeed.
So yeah, alright. So we're starting off the stream with a little bit of silliness, and then we're going to continue with some golf. You guys that are regulars, feel free to come in, join, hang out. We're live, but you are more than welcome to be here. Okay. Oh. So I just took this lid off this paint, like, whoop, without even unscrewing it. That's dangerous.
Well,
At least it's sealed.
I'm kinda glad it didn't squirt out on you.
Yeah, it's like really squeezed, like pressurized, so I'm kind of scared. I should do it over the palette.
Middle of this one.
It's like it's been through the ringer.
Moving, sweetie.
Oh! Getting black on my fingers already. Oh, I'm gonna have black paws. I was trying to get that to match my outfit. And there you go.
You and this microphone, huh? I swear.
Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for lurking and listening.
Baby. You're planning on no weight,
Yeah. Shane, welcome. See if I can go back to getting this off. Definitely getting black paint all over my fingers. Which was not part of the plan.
My chest. Okay. Activate system.
Let's stick it to the mouth. So far I have more paint on me than the canvas. Yeah. There you go.
Well, it's like painting your nails, but black.
Yeah, we can paint a picture. Finger paint. Firestorm from God Hands, right?
How will you
Here you go.
after your finger, please?
Yeah.
I don't want you on that side yet. What am I gonna do with this one?
Only happy mistakes.
See that way you guys know there's a cat under this canvas. No matter what I paint, there'll always be a cat here now. So it's always better now. This was not my intention. But it's fun. There you go. Okay, it's done. $500. Just kidding.
1,000.
It's done. It's a masterpiece. It's amazing. It's beautiful.
1,000.
It's even got the little head whiskers. You know?
Need a little jaw.
Yeah.
I'll clean it up.
Now that we've accomplished that,
Yeah. It's over, guys.
yeah, it's over. Now we're gonna play golf, right?
Yeah, right now. Like, not watching.
No, we're not done. We're not done. Would be titled "Painting the Color of My Soul" if it was just a cat. Although,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I was about to say.
that is pretty appropriate. Now that I think about it. All right, I just want to go get the paint off my hands. Be right back.
You're not allowed to do that. It's against our
Policy.
rules. Yeah. You have to have another artist take it off. So, it's actually written in our Bible. The Bible of arts.
How have you been, Michigan?
Pretty good.
So I still got paint under my nails. I hope that makes you happy. I couldn't get it all.
Yes. I am so
Nail
happy.
brush.
Now I can leave.
Alright, I'm gonna try using this sponge thing. Never used one of these on the canvas.
That or perhaps a nail file on a pocket knife.
Shower after stream, it'll probably come out.
No,
This is just this is acrylic paint or Jasmine canvas. Oh, Wild Zigzagoon. He's the color of my soul. Look at him. He's my licky boy.
Lexel.
Let's see. And Poketch. So you guys get Poketch. Although that's not the you know the black and pink version, but it still works.
It's not a shiny, but it works.
Yeah, well, this is the other regional Pokemon that's black and white. Alright, yeah.
To angle my screen away from the glare.
Make a mess.
Whee!
Can't even see a pore because my outfit's black. There you go. It's like trying to do this pore effect thing, you know, so you could see it, but you couldn't even see it because I'm wearing black. It's like, okay. Take this. Welcome to Just Converse with Chat. Say goodbye to my precious kitty.
How dare you?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna get a lot more paint.
Now we actually go into the darkness of her soul.
There's a cat in there. Always.
That is
Okay.
that is true though.
Always gonna be a cat in there. I'm definitely gonna have to pour more paint out. This is not gonna be enough.
I will be right back.
Okay. Paint actually smells good.
Don't eat it.
It smells like my drink. Can I drink it in Michigan?
No. It's no.
All the way from the canning spot. It's now we're done. I need my drink though.
Oh, that's the paint. No, I was kidding.
This is blackberry limeade.
Noise.
Blackberry limeade. So you guys need to stare at my like tail. I don't think you can see it either with the lighting in here.
No, not really.
That's probably a good thing. Staring at my butt. You need more paint. It's official. I used pretty much all that already. Shane. Oh. Okay. Do this again. So I got a big thing of this black, so I'm hoping we have enough. Hey, Six! I love you. Love you too, Six. Hope you're doing awesome. Look, there's a kitty cat. It's in there. It's hiding. See if I can come over here and paint this edge. No. everyone. Happy Friday. Look, they'll tip over the whole thing. What we doing?
Well, this painting is called the black square, not the black hole.
The black soul.
No,
It's called the black square.
Yeah, the black square, like, you know, the black hole is circle. It's round.
So you can see me hiding behind this painted. Edges. Let's create a beautiful frame.
Just put that on your wall, just a black void.
It is a black void. I love it. It's beautiful.
It's gonna make you happy now.
Yep.
They need to paint hospitals black.
I'm gonna hang this in my living room and call it the void. Because we all know there's a void hidden in here, and it's a cat. Cat void. Just like Rain's Mr. Puddles. Just chilling, preparing myself for the long work weekend. Ugh. Good
A
luck.
lot of people getting their stomachs pumped.
Ooh. Bad joke.
All the junk food they ate. Like me when I ate girl dinner last night.
Yeah, that's where you
I
were.
survived. I don't know how, but I did.
Stomach pumping is never fun.
It's a joke,
I don't know if I want girl dinner again tonight yet or not. I may change my mind. I might just have one of the snacks and not the whole bowl. We might do girl dinner next Friday.
One is never enough.
Kitty!
One will never be enough.
So I got to feed like some cats today and pet a cat, so that was fun. My neighbor has like this Siamese kitty, and I got to pet it finally. And then this other mama cat has 3 kittens, and then I saw 2 other cats. So I saw a total of 7 cats.
That's a lot of
It's
cats.
good luck, right?
You're like Snow White, but with cats. Like there's
Yeah.
flying outside your house. What's your cats flying?
I was bad and I fed them today.
Well, at least they know if they escape, they know where to go for food.
So they'll
Well,
never
they're
go
so
the same
skinny. They're so skinny. And like
Some
one of the
water out
kittens, one kitten is so skinny, it's like, yeah, you might not make it. So I was like, okay. And its mama was like, just as skinny.
I was like staring at you.
I was like, I feed you guys until they yell at me.
Mom doesn't eat neither to the kids.
Yeah.
As long as they have water somewhere.
And the thing is, that's not even all the cats. I swear there's like 14 of them. That was just probably half the herd today.
Guess who
What do you
ate
call
the
a group of
most
cats?
this
Is
time?
there a word for a group of cats?
Last I checked, it's what was it? It's not a
Not-
pride. That's lions.
Yeah, it's not a herd. We could call it probably though. Tequila.
It's not a harem. Queendom?
I don't know.
I know that the head female is referred to as a queen. And that's also a generic word for a female cat. We call boys toms.
Yeah, the new toms.
But boys don't usually hang out with large groups of females. They're driven away.
Let's see. But yeah, there was 2 large males, 2 mama cats, 3 babies today.
They're called like a whole litter, right? Or
Yeah, the 3 babies went to the one mom.
That's her.
The other mom actually had climbed the fence to get away from her babies. So I don't know where her babies were. I missed the announcement by almost half an hour. So sad. Welcome. It's never too late. You got to see the cat. You got to see me painting the void painting, you know. This is my soul. This is my soul. There's a cat in there somewhere. In this black void.
There would be an absence thereof. Maybe.
I don't know where Rain is either. So you beat Rain, Crisis. Oh.
Well, she was expecting 8.
She is. She probably went to go take a nap. She's probably
That's
sleeping.
what she did. Yeah, that's what she did. Yeah.
Poor Rain.
How's she doing? Well, I haven't been in touch
Doing
with her
good in
for
team play.
3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
Hope she's back on her feet by now.
Yeah, she was. She took the dog for a walk. She was in my Discord.
That's always good. Means her ankle's getting better.
Riley! Welcome to the stream. I hope you're feeling okay. I hope you're doing alright. Let's see. And get things up here. There. I had to fix the thing. As soon as I get done painting this void, we're gonna do some golf, so you're gonna feel free to join. No rush though.
I've already got the caddy shack.
It's still not 100%, but better than I was yesterday, and that is, I'm glad you're better than yesterday. I know you weren't feeling well at all yesterday. Okay. Get this corner. I think I'm gonna have to put more paint on my palette. The sponge actually works really good though. For doing this. I think that's what these are made for. To be honest.
Nice even coat.
Yeah. Just gesso the canvas. Sometimes you can buy pre-made black canvases now to start as your base coat. Oh, I bet this would drive Dreams nuts.
That's
You'd be like, you're starting with a black canvas? Oh my god.
Well, what are you gonna put down on top of the black though?
This will be a very abstract painting.
I'm gonna guess you're gonna do a contrast of white then. Or some other
It's-
bright color.
White.
Yeah, bright colors. Bright colors.
Just make it a checkerboard. I don't know.
But for today, we're doing my gesso coat and letting it dry for like a week. And I actually need to gesso the other canvas I have too now that I think about it. I have another one I need to gesso black
Do it.
for Gengar,
Restore early.
So true.
right?
Nobody wants
probably
to
do
gas
both.
it, though.
Do it.
I don't run out of black.
You should. I don't know how much is left.
There's no black.
Black goop.
A wild cuffin appeared. Oh, catch! Again, this stuff smells like my drink. It makes me want candy. It smells good.
Oh, it's...
I can't help but feel you're being sarcastic with that remark.
No, it actually has like a floral fragrance to it for some reason. Maybe it's whatever they use for the pigment. Yeah,
That I find surprising.
me too. Better than my oil paints. My oil paints stink.
Well, yeah, because they have petroleum in them. And guess where petroleum comes from?
The dead animals.
Yep. Usually tar.
Thank you for the minis! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Look, I always forgot the commands for this thingy. Elephant has been caught by cat! Yay! I caught it. Caught the elephant. Alright, you guys saw it. There's a void in here. Only you guys know.
On this tea. Otherwise, I'm gonna drink it all.
Forever and ever and ever, wherever this painting goes, we'll always know there's a cat.
There's a cat in there. Yep.
Hiding in the dark.
Kitty.
No one will ever know, but we will.
Shit's kitty.
It's a panther. With some eyes, like right in the middle, like a panther, like a.
And see what's not gonna happen is tomorrow when there's a lot of light in this room, I'm gonna see all the spots I missed.
Yeah, you can always.
I'll have to touch them out. Because the way the light is in here, you can't really see like the microfine little spots. It's like painting your house wall. The next day you're like, what the heck?
I can't tell because I have smudges on my screen.
Right?
You're missing your whole wall.
Hmm.
You should touch up your wall a little bit.
This wall?
Just make it black.
It's a window.
One black canvas required. We do the other one, because we can.
I say do it, yeah. Get done, get the basics done, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Give people more time to show up.
The first layer.
Hard to believe it's already 7:06.
Yeah, that's fast.
Yeah, older we get, the more we have less time.
Well,
No, there's
That's
pictures.
good.
'Cause it's very
we had a bit
What's
of
in the bowl tonight? I gotta make the bowl. I wasn't sure if I was hungry enough, but I think I'm pretty hungry. We'll make the bowl in a little bit. But yeah, feel free to join us. Right now we're painting the color of my soul. We put a void in a cat in the painting. It's in there. There's a cat. Trust me. But now I gotta go get a second one.
Have you ever
Gonna do the
removed
same
a
thing.
stump from a garden with just shovels and a hatchet?
No.
I do not recommend it. But we did that today.
Nice.
That's a lot of hard work.
Oh yeah.
Okay. This gave us sizes much difference. Of course.
Had 2 people helping and it was still a lot to get it out of the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like yay big around.
That was so much smaller. I was not expecting that.
I know, right?
That does
This
make
is gonna be
sense.
Gengar, so
Start with
this will
it.
be Gengar eventually. You can probably move it closer.
Maybe just a little.
You could probably put it on
No,
the camera.
no, don't make him lick us.
Here we go. I gotta be able to get around it. So. Alright.
Is that like your signature now on all your paintings?
Yeah, there's a void in here.
KimonoKat.
Wait, where's the signature hole? It's in there.
Yeah.
Perfect glow. Oh, Tabby.
There you go, all with a sponge.
That's actually rather impressive, I think.
Big
because
fat.
I'm not able to do that with a sponge at all.
There you go. Black holes, yes. I need to get back into painting. Do it! It's so good. So stress relieving.
I want more tea, but I need to stop drinking this stuff right now, or I won't have any left for golf.
Alright.
And I'll be way too high on caffeine
Yeah.
to sleep before my trip tomorrow.
Oh yeah, look at her. Let's get you pouring.
Pour that paint.
Does it have a bit of a blue tint to it?
Probably just the light in here.
I don't know.
15 stream streak. Thank you, Dempsey. I don't have any painting supplies anymore though. That's the main issue. Oh yeah, that's a problem.
Gotta get
I
the
need that.
suspenders.
Alright, bye bye, Void. This gonna be a lot quicker. What do you think?
Should be. I was about to say, can you keep that black paint so you can paint my hair on, like on top of my head? That's just my.
Paint you into the void? Is that what you're saying?
No, paint
Oh,
top
no.
of my head.
Gonna have one of
Gives
those
me hair.
smiling in the dark memes.
Oh. A wild Nick Dothy appeared. Thank you for the alert, Nick Dothy. I don't want to paint over the cat. I'm like avoiding it. The inevitable.
Be a big
It looks
blanket.
like Hitler the cat. Sorry.
Yeah, you don't want to paint the getter. But I gotta paint the edge, so we'll do the edge real quick.
Ooh, look at that, how she works that.
I'm surprised you're not dripping any of it.
Whoa.
Surprised too. So is the carpet.
Carpet probably is very relieved.
Yeah, I do have a drop cloth, but I failed to put it in
Well, that's good.
because it's actually at another station in the house with paint stuff all over it. So that was a lot of work to do all that. I just needed an additional drop cloth.
Hard lessons learned, I'm sure.
Well, usually what happens is I put down the drop cloth and then I drop my paintbrush and it bounces. It totally hits the floor without the drop cloth.
No.
Yeah. So then the trick is to let it dry. Don't try to get it out wet because then it just makes a bigger mess. You let it dry.
Yeah.
Then you remove the
Easier,
paint.
easier to get rid
Yep.
of paint chips than wet paint.
Exactly. Just let it dry. It'll be fine. And you can get it out.
Bye,
Bye, kitty.
Garfield.
Doesn't matter what the painting becomes. Always gonna be a cat.
Always to be a cat under that Gengar. You guys are gonna know it.
I don't know, I think they have similar ears, don't you?
Yep. Gengar has the soul of a cat. Sure. smooth it all out. Definitely the light shining on it just right. See that there's some other figure underneath.
It's funny. When you said he has the soul of a cat, I immediately went in my thoughts to the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland.
Uh-huh. It's beautiful. And complete. This is gonna be. I paint the other edges when this is dry enough to like rotate it, then I'll paint the bottom edge to the top where this piece is. But for now, it's done.
Yep, $500.
Yes. One void painting.
Yep. Because it's what it is. It's just a void. That's what you're painting.
Yeah, it's a void painting. We did void paintings tonight.
What do you call a white void then?
A white one? I don't know.
A heavenly void? I don't know.
Technically it's still devoid of color, but not of light.
Well, you can
Alright.
like anti-void or something.
Clean up my mess. Because I didn't use. And I'll be right back.
Don't forget
For some
to
golf.
wash your fingers.
Yeah.
Don't wash your fingers.
Oh, for real, get that stuff out from under your nails or it'll get on your mouse.
No, that's the best part.
Because then you start getting it into your mouse. Where's everybody? Big one that would put me to sleep. So why is my ball like that?
Well, it looks like I've been gardening with my nails. I can't get it out.
Here.
Well, it's stuck there forever.
It's gonna be dark and gross. Oh well. Welcome back. You cool if I join golf? Yes, totally.
It's about $20 to enter, I believe. That's good.
Alright.
It's a Discord subscription service to join the chat. Just
Yeah, $20.
there you go. Done. There. Fix that.
Stop streaming so that nobody sees things.
Wild Wobba Fett! Wobba Fett! Wobba Fett!
Not Mr. Mime.
Okay, so I changed my stream title. It should be changed to golf now. Yay! And then we're going to start it off, of course. And
Hope there aren't any updates today.
hear that sound? You know what it is. Password is lowercase today.
Playing as it was.
It might be different since the last time you played.
Hello.
Oh,
Put it. I'll put it in chat.
In chat.
The voice call, video chat, right here in the top corner.
Chat. Got it. Oh, I like that password. That's a fun password.
Meow.
It's password 123. Oh shoot, I said it.
I don't
Yep.
think that's the correct password.
No, it's lowercase. Password's lowercase. The word lowercase. Just kidding. Alright, we have 3 people in. Have drinks.
Que drang.
Splints, are you playing with us?
Hello.
Uh-huh.
Splints.
Squeeze in. Coming quick. All we need is Michigan.
Yeah.
Yup.
And everybody else.
I haven't played golf in a while, so I'm probably going to be terrible, and this will be great.
Well, we only
Right.
allow esport golfers here, so.
Oh,
When
man.
Since when is this one esports?
No,
They
I'm
have
horrible
any
at
golf?
the game. It's just
I don't
And of
remember
course, now
esports
is-
having miniature golf.
Of course, now is when my dog wants attention. Hello, dog.
Uh-oh.
Doggo needs attention.
Doggo wants pets.
Oh. French girl.
hit the pit.
Noise. And then get off Big Me, because you guys can't see the game if all you see is my face.
Ow.
There.
Street
It eventually appears. But I do need to move my big head to the proper corner for this game. The text. Proper corner for this game. So if you guys have any wild ideas for the new feature Twitch has, like if you donate bits for channel, instead of channel points to do stuff like Gigantify an emote, massive effects, screen celebration. If you have a better idea, I can change those to like something wild. Are you going to post the quick art piece from tonight in Discord later? Oh, I could. I need to take a screenshot of what it looked like. Of both of them. Because I did 2 of them.
I need to get back into painting. I did a
Void 1 and Void 2.
I've got a painting that I
Murder,
did
truckers.
of Oogie Boogie from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh boy.
E-buggy! Alright, forest, here we go.
Where's the beetle?
Shane, are you joining or are you doing stuff? Sorry, it's the shower. No worries, no worries. It's just a black void. It's literally a black canvas. I just gessoed my canvas. There's a cat hidden in each one. That's it.
You find
This one's gonna be Gengar. It's just a black canvas right now though. It's just the base coat. That's all I did. But you guys on stream know there's a hidden cat in both of them.
Bang, 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 bang.
It kind of wanted me to just like abstractly paint the cat. I just wanted to continue the cat painting at that point.
Don't blame you.
I want to paint a cat.
Oh god. I don't remember anything.
And if Splint's joins, I'll make girl again. But
Girl dinner.
you got such a kick out of that.
It'll come back to you.
We love girl dinner. Ah!
Oh no.
Sure, let's finish them or not. And I don't know. I may join around tonight. Do it, do it. If you feel up to it. You have to go back to work and do all those things. I got on my hacks tonight.
Fancy.
Yeah, just telling you my hacks. I might turn them off. Probably turn them off. Save now. No,
I
they
always
didn't.
mess up on this one.
They didn't turn them off. They're still on. It's like got an autopilot magnet to it now. It just like goes.
Oh!
Oh.
Okay. Oh.
There's a beam when it's level.
No!
Oh no!
I think I turned on anti-hacks for Crowley.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Fine.
Very, very little.
Hold one left.
Oh! Denied! Oh!
Yeah.
I thought that was gonna help, but it didn't.
I disabled your hacks.
You did. I had to do 2 to get in that time.
Yeah. I knew your password. It was I love cats.
How did you know? Dang it. How did you know my password?
It took a lot of like effort. It took about 10 years to figure it out. It was crazy. A lot of university.
Yeah. Ah!
Whoa.
Don't hit me.
I blame Splints.
This hole really is rude though.
It is. It's not an easy hole.
No, it's not. I think the one in Candyland is even easier than this one though.
Oh, I
It
messed
gives you
up.
something like a backdrop with ricochet off of.
I've been doing so much real life golf that I just
It gets to you unless you're practicing on greens
Yeah.
constantly.
I'll be doing good in real life.
Yeah, this is not going well.
Yeah, like I said, I I'll put some new codes in there.
I see that. Because I'm getting worse and worse.
I'm getting worse too.
Oh! Split's
No.
tried his best to hit me that time. He did hit me, but I just went all anyway. It's like, nope.
There
I'm
we go.
not getting knocked out of the
How
way.
in the heck do you get... I'm confused. Okay, there we go.
Told you it would come back.
Gadoosh.
Not playing good.
Alpha, you're like, yeah, this isn't going great. Meanwhile, I'm the one in last place.
Well, that means you're doing better in my opinion.
You're allowed. You're not feeling 100%. You have an excuse.
I'm having a fun time. Oh god,
Oh, wow.
where am I?
Two holes, get the right one.
Pretty good.
On the border.
There we go.
The border. Oh no.
All four
Thanks,
splints.
Splints. Wow. I'm surprised it took him that many.
I know, like, I'm running them right now.
Must have been some terribly bad luck.
Yes.
I never use it that way, so let's pull it away.
Yes.
I just talk all the mad stuff, which is splints right now. Is that it? You can be-
What did you do?
No, I said I can talk all the mad stuff to
Uh-huh.
He's not here, so
He's not here to defend himself.
What happened to your microphone, Splints?
I'm gonna sit on the wall. Apparently.
well, he's in another realm.
Oh, and I'm losing feeling in my foot.
Wiggle those toes and definitely unbend your knees.
I do the thing where, like, I'll sit on a leg, and then
Oh,
after...
no, that's-
What kind of
yeah, that's terrible.
sorcery and...
But anyways, the Spence guy, he's a very
Oh no, this is
not
a
nice
mess.
guy. He's not nice at all.
What the hell?
Never nice.
Apparently I need to learn how to play. I need to play some pool so I understand angles for golf.
That's one thing we all need to go play.
Actually, yeah,
You know, 22 players.
billiards is a good way to do it.
Pool?
If
Is
you
it
have-
understand which angle to shoot at or which part of the angle to make the ball go in the right direction? And I know in pool you learn that.
Oh, wait till you get spins involved. And different angles of impact.
Oh, I was so close.
Spence is so close. Wait, this Spence's life right there. He's so close. Like I said, I'm just gonna stop all the stuff.
Shenanigans.
Let's go.
Hey, wait.
Don't have it. Eat it. Poketch. Poketch. I'm stuck in a corner with you. And you.
I'm just gonna stay here.
Yeah, I can't move until probably a Split's move. Stuck.
Never mind. When you move, I move.
I don't like to split.
Is he gonna hit me?
waiting for the others to move out of the way of the hole, but
Yeah.
I ended up booty bumping Splints.
He likes it.
Ooh, I'm only 2 behind Splints now.
This one is the score killer, I'm afraid.
Oh. Okay.
Trust! That might be the first time I've gotten that on that one.
I'll take an eagle.
Man,
One was caught by Kimono. Yay! I caught it! I didn't think it'd let me catch it, but it's
I got a birdie.
doing it.
I
Miles wins for unbelievable. We're gonna have to
that
have
was
words.
rusty.
We're gonna fight.
I mean, nobody's even broke like 40 yet.
Aim for
So
the
I'm not-
V.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yes, that's what she said.
Then you get a hole in one.
I normally do get a hole in one, but you scared me.
Hole in one.
That was part of my plan. My evil plan to scare you.
I got it in 2.
On this hole, I always have more strokes, which is good. That screwed me out.
Oh, Michigan. I'm only 1 behind you now.
Yeah, that hole. I normally do get a hole in one.
No, I messed up. Sometimes I can get a hole in one on that one.
Stop. There we go.
Depends on whether you hit the conveyor belt.
Oh!
Look at. Oh! Did it spit you back out? You were in the hole!
I was gonna say, it even looked like you sunk.
Yeah, you sunk in the hole on my screen and then it spit you back out. That's not
The
cool.
responder on mine.
That's stupid.
Agreed.
Oh, this hole gets me.
Oh, banana links.
Ah.
Oh, that's so
No.
close to an albatross.
I hate this one.
Got a par.
I didn't do good. This is actually the worst time
Oh,
playing this. I
God.
think I play golf in real life too much now.
I want to go play putt golf, but it's too
Big
hot
ball.
right now. It's like death out there this time of year.
Yeah. There should be indoor ones.
There we go.
You hit it enough,
Jesus.
I mean, it's been extremely hot because I get out of bed, it's like 80 and muggy, and I'm like, what? This early in the morning? What the heck? We definitely got some kind of heat wave going on.
It's
Yeah, I
like
want
the
that.
worst spot.
I hate humidity. Like, I'll take.
Yeah, it's like walking into a wet.
Yeah, you get all
Rack or
sticky.
something.
Yeah.
It's like-
so much.
Somebody handed you a wet towel to dry off with.
Oh, that's the
I
worst.
hate being.
I don't know.
No 69s here.
We all were positive. Like, we're below par, basically.
Yeah.
Bathroom, beer time.
Alright, yeah, stretch break.
You
Stretch break.
will get
Oh!
Time to pet the dog.
you redeploy. And then just
To be fair, I didn't do as bad as I thought I was gonna.
No, I think you did better than you were expecting.
Yeah.
All things considered, I don't think it took you long to get back in the swing of it either. There's the phone. Hey, it's Seth.
Sorry, that was my oven. Apparently my husband is making food.
Ooh. I wonder if it's casserole or something.
Probably chicken.
I do love chicken.
Usually it's chicken. And potatoes.
I'm gonna lay off pee for a bit.
I just want to see the
Drink
dog.
number 2.
The dog.
The doggy.
The doggy. Here he is. Doggy.
That's one thing about not going tomorrow to my aunt's house. I don't get to see a dog.
Dinner.
Mm,
Girl dinner. Oh, God. I need to not do that.
This is Splits' favorite.
So much
no,
nutrients.
The
Moss,
The
I
funny
expect
Okay.
you to die.
They're
looks like
spicy queso bunions.
I love onions.
Ew. That would be instant diarrhea for me.
Caramel gummy bears,
I'm a gummy bear.
peanut butter M&Ms, and peanut butter cups. But I don't think I'm gonna put the cups in there. So,
Oh, when's your funeral though?
More
Is that
sensible.
next week?
you want spicy queso bunions?
Not with peanut butter cups.
How is this more sensible?
But yeah, come on. When's your funeral so we can show up?
I don't think I'm gonna eat the whole bowl.
Shut
It's
up.
not possible.
Wait, are you mixing them together in a bowl?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I did yesterday on
You're
stream.
You're a heathen. What are you doing?
I thought you were gonna say you're a hero.
Yesterday I had Cheetos, Skittles gummies, and chocolate donuts all in a bowl
Oh
together.
no.
Little mini chocolate donuts.
Oh
Potatoes
no.
and chocolate though, but not
There.
Reese's
It's
cups.
pretty. It's pretty.
Yeah, because of all the artificial food dye in it.
I know, right? It smells really gross. I wish I would have got regular Funyuns, not spicy queso ones.
I would understand a little bit if you're actually like watching a movie or something, like maybe. But...
You guys are watching the movie.
yeah, watching you. Like, it was all good popcorn.
Lee,
There you go. Okay, maybe I will put the donut in.
ate some cashews.
I had dairy cashews, but I poured them in a different thing.
No.
Kimono, go to your room.
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta
It's
take a
already
picture
there.
or something.
It's like Halloween where you have to take the candy
These are
from the kids so they don't eat it
These
all.
are big peanut butter cups.
Yeah, no.
That's what I feel like. I feel like a parent that needs to take
Peanut
like
butter with
candy away from the kid.
queso.
Like, no.
Yeah, just like,
I think you're gonna have an upset tummy
probably.
with spicy queso and peanut butter cups.
Put it on a blender and then do it.
No! I definitely went in
Oh, damn chicken.
it. There.
That's a bowl of diarrhea right there, if I ever saw one.
Take a photo.
I could honestly see cheese puffs being done with fondue chocolate. But otherwise, no, leave the peanut butter out of it.
Well, she's Kimono's an innovator, you know, she's just, this is her new store that she's gonna open up.
She's a trendsetter.
You can
Chocolate
stir
covered
it a
cheese
little bit
puffs.
so you can see the M&Ms in there.
A bunch of
Also,
kids go to her store because they love it.
bacon and vanilla ice cream is surprisingly good too.
That also sounds like diarrhea.
Diarrhea.
It used to be for me, but I can't have it anymore. The ice cream, that is.
Get you diarrhea.
I can. There will just be consequences later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Posted it. We'll see what happens. Oh wait, I should have posted one for on Instagram or in Discord.
Me-
Oh, are
Bacon
you
bits.
posting the girl dinner?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that.
I don't know what I'm gonna have for food. I haven't figured that out yet.
Well, yeah, at least you're gonna have food.
What?
Yeah, it's probably
You
gonna be
going hungry? over
This
there,
is
Michelle?
food?
Yeah, 100% not food.
He's not going hungry. He's just saying I'm not doing food.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll probably end up doing like tofu and rice with like stir-fried veggies or something like that.
Now that sounds good. That sounds like food.
Not what I'm having.
Eh.
I've been bad
You
though.
put
I
junk
ordered
in the
food
tank.
like the last couple days.
Well, you've been sick. It's understandable.
Yeah.
Junk food doesn't help that.
Well, no,
Oh,
I.
Well, Kimono's not sick.
No,
Well,
I'm not
no,
sick.
Not
no,
yet,
but I'm
anyways.
You're working on it. Just kidding. Then I want to go to work Monday. Yes, that's the plan. Just
I
kidding.
got diarrhea.
Aw.
Go be a potato.
I don't have to go to work if I get sick.
That's what you're trying to do.
Calls
I
the
see- I
boss.
see
Hey
your master
boss,
plan.
I'm glued to the toilet.
I have
No
a
fault
stomach
of my
ache.
own.
A really bad one.
Ooh.
I don't know what end is coming out.
I don't think it's the end that's coming as much as what's coming out of the end.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm covered on that. And now we can start the next game. I think occasionally about people with food intolerances, allergies, and feel really sorry for them. I don't know what I'd do if I couldn't eat dairy, peanuts, greens, with gluten, etc. Yeah,
See, again,
it's terrible.
technically am not supposed to,
Lucky
but I
that's
do.
lactate.
There will just be consequences.
Lactate.
I got my
Yeah.
enzyme checked and they're all good. I'm not allergic. to
Honestly, I pay for a lot of things I eat too, but not to the extent of going to the doctor.
I got lucky on a lot of those departments.
Yeah, you don't have allergies either, regular allergies, so you're just lucky
Mhm.
all around.
Yeah. I just got.
Haribo gummy bear.
Actually, those are rather good. But I
Mhm.
like the snakes better. Twin snakes.
He tastes like a nacho Haribo though.
That's not normal.
You should have painted with those because then you would have never got paint on your skin.
Oh
I
no.
don't know if I can pick up the M&Ms. That's gonna be the bad part. They're just gonna be all in the bottom of the bowl when I'm done because I can't really pick them up.
No, that's gonna be a challenge I want to watch.
I tried.
Use the spoon.
No, we'll just watch her pick
Okay.
M&Ms for the next hour.
Right? I can't pick up M&Ms with chopsticks.
Well, not yet. Not with that attitude. There we go.
This is true. No, I did it!
Yeah,
Thank
exactly.
you for believing in me.
Put your mind to it.
What?
I feel like I went to some like crazy stream. It's like, oh yeah, look at what she's eating. Sorry.
I'm all about those, crazy food streams. Alright. Do this.
Hey, Candyland. This is probably.
Yeah, that's appropriate.
Oddly
Okay.
fitting.
I had a little
Except
bit of
we
a
don't
cough,
have any
but I'm
Krispy
back.
Kremes.
Yeah.
Or peppermint sticks.
I'm gonna win this one.
Yeah. I'm sure that was gonna be like a really good one.
Ah,
I thought it was.
Wishy washy.
I realized.
No.
Oh no! What the heck happened to my cat?
no,
Hello, hello. Check it out. Girl dinner number 2. Would you like some?
You're going a whole week that way.
I'll feed you a Haribo.
Breakfast,
He's
dinner.
slightly spicy nacho Funyun flavored. Yes. Girl dinner.
Like I feel actually sick,
There
which
we
is
go.
weird. Put some meat in there.
Caffeinated drink.
Just don't put them all in your mouth at one time. You're fine.
It's caffeinated drink in my case, I know that much.
Nick Dothy with a 3-stream streak. Thank you, Nick Dothy. Chopsticks to make it that much better. Yeah, it's to keep from getting the nacho stuff all over your fingers so you don't get it on the keyboard and the mouse. I learned a new trick yesterday. It made my day.
I eat popcorn with chopsticks normally.
See, I didn't know this. Everybody knew this trick but me. Ah!
Doritos. If I decide to tempt fate and have Doritos.
I'm having trouble.
I had Doritos when I was golfing like, ago, and I was like, shoot, this is gonna be all over my golf.
I would say aim for the green stripe in the center.
Oh, jeez.
You said it, not me.
Jeez, Rick.
I'm gonna win this one to show you guys that diets are important. Just kidding.
Oh, catch.
Oh no!
Diets are
Please
important.
flag gumdrops.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna win it.
Oh, I already escaped. Lame.
The second hole, they've actually shot me off the course.
Cheers.
Yeah.
I just
Always just through sheer luck that you make it.
Does that count?
I get that.
Three-way tie for first. I feel
What
like
is what count?
would take-
I just took more Dayquil. Does that count?
Oh,
Towards the
Yeah.
cheers?
Oh,
yes. If it helps you feel better, yes.
I wanna
You know,
try
I have
something
3
stupid.
bears stuck to my chopsticks.
Oh my god, that worked! I can't believe that actually worked.
It worked.
I like went around
Jump.
the thing and jumped.
Oh.
Excuse me.
I went through the hole backwards. That's the first time I've ever done that.
Oh, jeez. Not enough heat.
That's the first time. These spins are making me look bad.
I think there's something wrong with his mouse.
Sweet! Can't wait to have you, Lemon. What are you having for dinner? I'm sure it's not girl dinner. Probably real food.
Nah, but she has a...
Got a sticky mouse button there, once.
Yeah, Sean.
See, I have nobody to keep me in check food-wise. That's an issue.
At least it didn't fall off that time.
You're making me look good.
I do also have leftover cucumber kimchi.
Mmm, spicy, but also very yummy.
Is spicy, but also
Sounds yummy.
Yeah, it's refreshing because of the
Oh,
cucumber.
put me out of the frickin' funnel.
Whee!
2 hole ones. Unbelievable. I'm gonna have a 2.
Sean made burgers and we had roasted radishes and baked beans.
That
I've
sounds
never
really
had
good.
roasted radishes. I've never had them cooked.
It's really
They
good.
Me and
Yeah,
Charlie
it's really good.
like,
Maybe I've been eating radishes wrong my whole life.
I've been cooking burgers left and right.
That was one thing I used to eat a lot of as a kid that I can't eat as an adult because it hurts the stomach. So maybe I do need to roast them.
Yeah,
I
like,
don't
yeah.
know.
How did I get out there?
I have no idea. That's probably how.
Apparently, this is
The
going to be
lower
the death of me.
Well,
Upper
your
lip.
nutrients of your brain isn't working because you don't have a good diet.
Yeah,
Your brain's not
I
focused.
gotta go the long way. We have been getting a local produce box every week, so we've been experimenting with veggies. That sounds so cool.
I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna have to go to their house one day and just learn how to cook that stuff.
Need a local produce box.
I love grilling because you can just
Hello,
sit out there.
Crowley.
What?
Crowley.
Hello?
You tied with me.
Oh.
No! I left the course.
Did I get no?
I just left. I was like, no,
Nope. I did
I'm not
not.
doing this. I'm just gonna leave. Apparently. I'm just gonna leave.
I'll just take it and keep it.
Well, shit, if I had done that the first time, I would have gotten a hole in one.
Oh, I narrowly missed the hole.
Yeah, me and you did the same thing.
Of course, usually has me hitting my door a million times. I understand. It's your favorite.
Hope the door is not plywood.
It's his favorite, of course.
Oh,
Still
man.
trying to pick up M&Ms with chopsticks over here. Baby challenges. Success. No!
Oh! Darn it.
No! I didn't give it enough.
There we go.
I was waiting for somebody to bump me back, so.
Watch someone get
That'd be
69.
great.
I don't like this one.
I'm sure the donut doesn't feel good about it either.
Yeah.
Well,
The donut definitely gets used.
oh, man.
There we go. About time I actually do something.
All you mission.
Now what you should be.
Oh, crap. I dropped a gummy bear on the floor. It was stuck to my peanut butter cup.
Oh, that is much more of a jump than I thought it was.
These are ginormous. I've never had these big ones
From
before.
where I was.
I
It
like
might
the
be
normal
two for
ones.
you.
Oh.
I'm hoping it's like more peanut butter than chocolate.
Okay. Like Reese's are definitely.
Because
up
that's
there.
what I like about like the Easter egg ones, the heart ones and stuff. Is their peanut butter chocolate ratio is better.
Oh yeah, yeah, I love.
So that's why I don't know if these big ones are gonna be
There
this
we
way.
go. Sheesh.
Pocket rabbits with peanut butter.
Looks like the worst spot to be right at the base of the ramp, though.
I know that's why.
These are good.
This hole here. Like that.
I approve.
I ended up calling my manager Peanut Boy the other day because he's
Oh,
has a
no.
peanut allergy.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Hey, can you put this candy up?" Points to a box of Reese's. I was like, "All right, Peanut Boy."
You didn't want to touch it, did you?
I don't
No.
blame 'em.
Oh, babe.
Granted, I'm not allergic to peanuts, but I have seen people have
That
severe
would
reactions.
suck. I love everything.
You love
That
nuts,
sucks.
Michigan?
I do. I love nuts. All the nuts. Like,
Cashews,
I would buy a bag
almonds,
of nuts
hazelnuts.
and crack it.
I like pistachios a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
like,
good, but they're actually
So much protein in
flour.
them too. And that's the benefit. Right?
Making a mess. I gotta wash my hands.
No, you don't want to.
There we go.
We want to see how messy your hands can get tonight. Just,
See if I can thread the needle here. Nope. I hit the corner.
The whole idea of the chopsticks is to not get messy hands, but then I was getting lipstick on my hands.
There we go.
like,
That just was not, I was not wiping that. My clothes.
Double bogey.
yeah, we're gonna take the candy from you. Go to school tomorrow.
No, it's Friday. I'm going to school.
That's true, isn't it? It's the summer.
Yeah, it is. It was, yeah, obviously a joke, but yeah, it is. Yeah.
But it is July, so that is the last month of summer break.
Yeah,
Oh.
like I saw at my local store, they're starting to put backpacks out there and school supplies.
They really should have done that.
What do you
by
mean it's
beginning of
the
summer,
last
though.
thing of summer break? Summer break doesn't end
July?
until,
September.
like,
Normally, isn't
September.
it? Yeah, it's September, early September for us.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always
That's odd,
been early
because-
September.
For us, it starts in October. School year
October.
does. Yeah.
Usually,
I went
School
to
starts?
I went to public, so
usually
school?
from what I've heard throughout New York State, it's the week after Labor Day.
yeah, it's the same here. That's what I always did.
Here it's August.
Why?
Dude,
September.
Florida's weird.
Oh,
Yeah, we knew.
I mean, we do get hurricane days, but they supposedly schedule makeup days for those.
Oh, we have
We have a
snow
lot of
days.
snow. Yeah, snow days.
When do y'all get out of school?
June
Like
3rd
June?
or something like that. I remember, like June
Yeah, like-
3rd.
So you
Yeah.
get out like the same time as us, but you start like a month or two later.
Yes.
No, I would get out like
Oh, we're
towards the end of
smarter, so-
June. Like, I usually would get out towards the end of June.
Yeah, all depends. You know, if you're like a senior or something that's doing well.
Your consistency at Candyland is terrible. I feel that. Some days I do great at Candyland, and then some days I'm terrible at Candyland.
This is like
Today's the
real
terrible
golf.
day.
Wrong square.
This is like real golf too, where you're not consistent.
There we go.
But I do know of schools in Michigan that do start in August. Yes. But those are part of the community.
Hey, stream
No,
officially started.
no.
2 hours later.
That was our warm up 2 hours. Now we got another 10 hours. I did not last night.
I've only been
I
live like
see
an hour and a half, but
that. It overshot.
It wasn't me.
He got past the 16 in that 9 at this point, I'm pretty sure.
I did it. Stupid. Oh. Well, that's interesting.
What?
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Oh no!
Did I help you? No, you're in a bad spot. It did not help.
Sprints. Imagine the hole.
Oh no!
Ooh, that was close.
Told you. Just imagine it.
Splints made it in.
I know. I was helping.
You did good helping him.
Uh,
Okay,
there's
these
the worst
spicy
spot to
nacho
be in
funyuns
on
aren't
that
too bad.
conveyor belt, though.
I do like noodles.
This is the hole that.
Tank, I'm glad that worked.
Stop!
Split
Stop!
says.
Stop! There we go.
I felt bad for hitting you.
Yeah,
Normally
Mono's
you want to be at the
tanked me.
opposite end of that conveyor belt.
Mm.
Oh! 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 Yeah!
You're holding on.
Yeah, I did.
Went over.
At least you get a
I-
reset right to where you started from.
I know, but still, it should have went over.
3
Like
and
pure
a quarter
luck.
should do it.
Pretty. Michigan disappeared. Tex! Welcome, Tex.
Hi, Ted.
So glad to see you.
Hello.
To Ranger.
Oh, Pokecatch.
Hope catch to catch chat up.
What
Oh.
happened to Michigan?
I can't buy that item. What do
Don't
you
worry
mean?
about it, Splunk.
That is so weird. Oh, maybe not the S. Poke shop, 10 Pokeball. I don't know. Why are they being mean to you?
I don't know.
Let me see what mine says. Oh, Pokeball 10. Yeah, and I reversed it. I'm surprised.
Oh no, Michigan.
My watch is telling me to calm down. Oh no. Oh, mine was dying. I need to put mine on the card. Beep. Welcome to the stream.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Finally woke up.
Yeah,
Good evening.
you're like, the stream's about to be over. I was kidding.
No, it's not. It only just started.
Yeah, 5 minutes ago, yeah.
Painted voids. 2 black voids.
No, Kimono started 5 minutes ago.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No. Shoot.
What'd you do, Curly?
I messed it up.
How do I use my balls? Just poke catch, and I'll do it. It's all in one go. You can't do it. Oh, you can buy them in one go, but you can't use them all in one go. Oh, geez, why did I do that?
Hey, it wasn't me.
Ain't no fortunate son either.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, there's a dip.
Put my hand up on your hip.
Millie.
What?
Thank you, Rain. Here is girl dinner for tonight, Rain.
Fuck.
Yeah, like I said.
Fucking
Iced
weird.
tea, queso, Funyuns, Haribo
I called the
gummies,
police.
peanut
but
butter
they already-
M&Ms, and a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I called the
God.
police, but they already had too many reports about it, so like they're not gonna show up.
Should have called an ambulance. She's gonna have a heart attack.
Oh no.
I told her it looked like a bowl of diarrhea.
Well, it's gonna come out that
Oh
way,
my God.
probably.
Oh no!
It's
Right.
gonna look like this map, like a bunch of poop.
There it is.
So the challenge has been picking up M&Ms with the chopsticks. It takes patience.
And she said that she couldn't do it, but
Yeah, I didn't think I'd be able to do it, but Michigan believed in me, and now this is the 3rd one I've picked up. Look,
Yeah.
I picked up the M&M with the chopstick.
Major dexterity.
Hell yeah.
And left-handed,
Oh,
because my right hand's gotta stay on the mouse.
Oh, I jumped too far.
You can see the rainbow.
Stop.
I'm glad they take tar.
Dead ball. Dead. Shit. It was in me. Once use your inner logic.
Hmm? Beating my hair. Oh! And dropping gummies.
This is. I don't like this one.
Charlie, stop it.
Don't die.
Rededicate this. No, just kidding.
Dedicate the force to Crowley.
Yup. Yup. No die. No die allowed.
Dying is for like old people.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so uncool. Gosh.
No.
No, I hate this hole. I always mess it up. This is when lady gets get good. I'm like, no, and then he says some other words.
Bars is enough.
Maybe I don't want to go in the hole. Maybe like that. Maybe I want to sit here.
I mean, I could see that being advantageous in certain
Like,
scenarios,
why
but
are we all getting directed this way? Like, why can't I sit
Mm-hmm.
here? These are questions.
My mom had the audacity to ask me how many of the Assassin's Creed games I've played.
Oh no. I'd be like, all of them?
Like, Mom, I've at least played
I just
a
like how
good
you,
hour of each one, and have finished several of them.
I just like how your parents have that thought out thing.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of jealous.
I'm jealous.
Hi,
Ugh.
Lynn.
I guess I should.
They were all gonna go then. Just kidding.
Meow.
I'm still confused as to why my arm.
Wow, I jumped off one track to the next track. So
Big
it's
tank.
a good thing Mono's
What's up?
pretty,
Hello.
because otherwise it would be boring to watch golf stream while you're getting to see the golf.
You know what? I completely forgot she was on Big Mono. Thanks, Shane. I just woke up.
No,
I forget I'm on Big Mono. That's the real issue.
She's always.
I'll take a birdie.
Why did you just groan? Sir.
Why not? What are you talking about? What's up? You're trying to get dogs, okay?
Yeah.
Right, so I got to see 7 kitties in my yard today.
I'll
7
go.
kitty cats. And the one let me pet it. She wanted to come in the house.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
One
She's
of the
covered
mamas.
in
You need
fleas.
to still. No, like.
Poor baby.
You gotta
Yeah.
give him a bath.
I know.
You have to still one.
I'm sure my neighbor would freak out if her favorite cat was missing because I was giving her the bath.
Just
Can't
tell
get
her
nice
you're
little
giving
feedback.
her a bath.
There
Yeah.
You're giving her a flea treatment.
I'm not dying. That's fine.
Yeah, it's.
There's nothing wrong with doing that. You're
That's one
trying to
thing.
help the kitty.
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
I don't know if she's nursing little ones. Can you give them flea baths while they're nursing little ones?
Yeah, you should.
As long as it's a bath and not like a chemical treatment, it should be
Mm-hmm.
fine.
Well, either or though. It's like. Yeah, you don't want fleas everywhere soon.
Oh god, I didn't realize that played so long.
Oh.
Alright, we're ready for
Now I can
anybody else
join.
that wishes to join.
Oh my
Password is
God,
once
I'm
again lowercase today.
Good.
It's password 123.
I think I'm gonna pop out for now.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Rude.
Understandable.
Just
Oh,
because
so
I
crowded.
can feel my throat not being happy at the moment.
Wish you well.
That's no fun. Yeah.
Feel better.
I'll lurk
Yeah,
in stream
please.
though.
Yeah.
Please get to feeling better.
Yeah, I'm working
Don't
on
talk anymore today.
it. Bye.
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 It's because Lemon joined, right?
Yep.
They had to
Yeah.
run
It always
away
seems
because
to
Well,
happen.
um,
Either Crowley joins and I leave, or I come on and Crowley leaves.
Yeah.
that's like being an artist.
Yeah.
My shoulders
I've
a
been
little
on
sore.
lately and artist hasn't. Go figure, you know.
It's like, yeah, my shoulder is a little sore. Sorry, I have to leave. That's good.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. Get it.
There you go.
Think for it. It's round of golf. Is Splint's back?
He's here.
Okay.
Anyways, Lemon, I think Sean should get this hat. He likes to wear hats.
Yes, he does. I have to get it for him. I think he would like that hat.
They have it in truck driver porn and cat. So whichever
yeah.
style cat you like, they have both styles.
Yeah.
Which is great.
What?
I got the trucker one.
And then there's all the designs, my new designs too, that went out.
I'll have to go check them all out. Crowley's very interested. Come here.
Did I share my new designs on social media yet?
I don't know.
I always wanted her to get hats. Because I wear hats, obviously.
Yeah. Did she get
You
one of
do?
the hats for 4 years?
Yeah.
And
I
he
do
finally
wear
got his
hats.
wish.
I know, it's weird.
She kept telling him one day, and then I freaked out when I loaded my brand new t-shirt design and it was an option on the company I already used.
I like it. I got 2 of them now, so.
Can't wait till it gets cool out so you can rep your new KimonoKat hoodie.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait for you either.
The
Will be
hoodies are nice,
awesome.
too, like in the winter time.
Yeah, Jeff always wears my hoodie.
To be fair, I don't really wear hoodies.
That's his favorite hoodies.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell.
It's just like me with hats. Like, I don't wear hats. So.
He has 2 of them, and he wears the one he wore out first most of the time.
Yeah.
'Cause I guess it's broken. It's most comfortable. And then he's got a newer one.
Like I said, I got a backup hat. So.
You definitely got a backup hat. And a backup, I don't know what to do with this hat.
Yeah. I might paint it.
Oh no. My mom's asking me which Assassin's Creed is my favorite. I'm like, Mom! They're all my favorite.
Yeah, choose.
What one is your favorite?
I understand if you have to sign off to make the PowerPoint presentation.
Oh.
Okay, Mom.
It's
Point 1.
really tempting.
Be like. I mean, what did she try to do? Buy you something from one of the games in particular?
It
or
could
something?
be.
No, my stepdad got her all of them.
Oh, well,
so
like,
she's
she has to
trying
play
to-
them in order. Tell her she has to play them in order.
That's cool that
I
she
think she
wants
knows
to
she
know.
has to play them in order. She better
She
know
wants
she has
to
to play them in
know
order.
your favorite one, so when she gets to that point, she's like, this is my daughter's, you know, that's more just
Mm.
yeah, like a bonding thing.
Yeah.
Go spot with airplane.
Cat ass in the shot.
Back that up, you cat. No, just kidding.
It's so funny. So my
Bitch.
sister, her boyfriend were visiting this.
Mhm.
They brought their puppy. Oh, loved him. Whenever they were playing, like,
Mhm.
just butt check him, like should just throw her ass in his face. We decided that our theme song was the "Cat ass in a circle."
Oh my god.
It's a cat way.
Hi, Dash.
Do be the way of the cat.
Mm-hmm.
It was that here.
Because, you know, I think it was
So?
like a scent thing or something like, here,
Mhm.
this is me.
Dogs are like, what did you eat last week? I want to know.
Well, I would hate to be if you were a dog. Jeez.
Yeah, what did you eat last week, cat? I don't know. Tell me. What does it smell like? Girl dinner.
I'm like, I think.
Meat.
Yeah.
Mother.
It smells like peanut butter.
Well,
I was like peanut butter and onions
Attention.
Oh, the onion part.
and nacho cheese.
I love onions, but not, you know, that way.
I like onions.
I love that I can hear him purring. It's so loud.
Cutie.
Make himself louder for you. Hey.
It's like, this is my game, not yours.
Stay.
I'm
Oh,
trying to
God.
get them to play a few 8 and 16-bit games with limited success.
Come on. Aw. Damn it.
Oh jeez. I had that. How are you doing, Dash? Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing awesome.
Yeah. I guess I'm lucky I come from a gamer family shade.
My dad was like,
A
what
bunch
is
of
Fallout?
fucking nerds.
Ah,
Stop laying on. Carly.
Be really funny. Grow over here.
Oh, whoa.
No.
Sorry, is the red chair behind you, is that like animals, like, lazy boy?
Sickly. Are you fucking kidding me? Sorry, his leg so I keep jumping.
Oh no.
No, it's here because I wanted to use it to read and actually use it.
does he let you play
Wait,
Stardew at all?
What's that?
Does he let you
No.
play Stardew at all?
No.
That sounds
Usually-
great.
He'll lay half of my on the desk, and I have to move forward.
Mhm.
I have my keyboard pulled back. Remus likes to lay in between my and he was up here last. Can you tell they're spoiled?
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
As
they
should
own
be.
you, you just have to be accepted to their family.
Oh, she is.
That's how it is with my cat. It's like, oh, you know, we will accept you, even though you're the one that feeds me and all that stuff.
So your dad definitely played video games then, Shane. That's cool.
My dad used to
I mean-
play Command and Conquer. That's the one thing he used to play.
Sega
That's about
Genesis
it.
were pretty good and pretty old.
My mom didn't play video games growing up. My stepdad did though, and my dad might have, but he may not have started playing video games until he was in like college and stuff, or at least college age.
I think the first time I played was at my cousin's house. They had video games.
My grandparents had an Xbox when I was a kid, and
Oh, nice.
for us, and then
Michigan, you're gonna catch on fire.
I can't open my game. It's not
Oh,
Oh,
is it being bad?
growing up, my dad had a PlayStation 2, and I
like I see.
remember watching my dad play Diablo 2
Mhm.
with his best friend on the computer.
We had an
And,
original
alt
PlayStation
tab?
in his basement.
No, I've been doing that. It's not.
try Alt Escape
It's not letting me.
and come back
Because the
in.
thing is, I see it, but once
Yeah.
I accidentally minimize it, it's super.
Guess
like
it's
I'm-
gotta
I-
force the game to close.
Yeah.
He really liked GTA Vice City a little.
Yeah. I'm played Vice City. The only GTA I've played is 5.
Oh.
That's the only one I own.
I wish I knew how to help you, Michigan. I don't know what it's doing.
Yeah, the game's running everything. I just don't know why. it
Oh,
doesn't
there it
close.
goes. I kicked him out now.
Yeah, no, I kicked myself out.
Yeah.
So we're letting
Because
play.
this is the second time it's done it today, but last time I was able to get it back up. But this time I was like, nope.
Oh. You already played golf today? Look at you. You were practicing. He was cheating. He's using his cheat codes to practice.
No, when we were playing. Yeah.
Where
No. You didn't.
Ooh. Tank, you almost touched me. And I was
Tank.
about to fuck you
I
up.
didn't mean to. I wanted to get by.
Sorry.
It was quite intentional, and no other way around.
Look at that. So close.
Oh,
Oh dear God.
there you
Rose.
go.
You didn't touch me. I went before you could, because you would have knocked me away.
I thought that I pushed you in.
No.
Lion, not or intent.
Hi, Puddle Butt. Hi, baby. Little baby. I got a little baby. Yeah, you know
Oh.
your pet.
Oh shit.
Oh, whoa, I overshot that by a lot. Let's try less.
I'm gonna leave all the blue M&Ms in the bowl. Who wants them?
Oh my
No,
God.
thank you.
No, you need to eat them.
I'll mail them to you.
No, please don't mail those to me.
Do you not like?
No, it's the blue. It's the blue.
Oh.
Sorry.
You need to eat them.
You saying there's starving kids that would love those blue M&Ms?
Yes.
You were warned.
Cleo.
I helped, I think, 2 of you, and then I didn't help myself. I'm pretty sure I knocked 2 of you into the wall.
She's really going after that toy. Jesus.
Love that.
Gonna die.
Oh sh.
Well, that tail
Does
and
it?
mouse back the wrong way.
Oh,
What
come.
the hell?
Sorry, Tim.
Alright, it's only 3 shots.
Hi, Puddle Butt. I know, hi.
I'll pick a blind one.
Puddles. Puddles. Here, you asshole. Come on. Come on. There you go.
Mhm. Michigan Lake Dash. Kisses himself.
Oh.
Self-love. I just get 2 or 3 clicks in one time.
Turbo button.
And all kind of things. Gun show? Okay.
See those muscles?
You're gonna see into the void. You will
Is
see
that
no
fun?
muscles.
No, because you're so strong, but
Mm-hmm.
He done abandoned me, you little asshole.
Rude.
Also, you want to know what's really fucked up? I straightened my hair today because I was tired of it being like somewhat curly because I cut it. I didn't realize that my hair was just gonna stay straight today. That doesn't happen. With how
Fun.
humid it is, I'm like, damn. Yeah, I think it's gotta curl back a little bit, not much.
Mm-hmm. Looks nice.
Earlier than mine.
Oh, my hair is naturally straight.
Mm-hmm.
well, when I had hair, no,
Ah!
it wasn't.
Well, I was trying to send you in the right direction, Lemon.
Oh,
Oh,
to me.
Flint, you fucker!
Bunch of
Would have had a par too.
Okay, Jay.
I think it's pronounced party.
whoa, we don't say
Yeah.
we don't say heart.
There you go. Michigan Redeem Gun Show.
You see the muscles?
They're invisible. They blend into the chair now.
Yeah, like I said, it's a void that you're just so strong
Mm.
that it becomes a black hole. Almost. Just that.
No, 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 no! Damn it.
Hi, Rose. Oh!
Nah.
Oh, Mona, that was close.
I don't think I've ever gotten an eagle on this hole.
I think I've accidentally gotten a hole in one.
It always called me the ball. When I got it.
If I ever get a hole in one, it's accidental. That includes.
I don't think I've
games
ever got a
and
hole
real
in one
life.
either. Just a birdie.
I hope everyone's enjoying my jumping around.
Jump.
I love your raft, though.
I know.
Hi,
A
little
little
Nessie.
lockus. Yeah. Love it. Bug catch. Watchdog.
I'll take a double bogey on that. I usually get much worse.
That's what I wanted. There we go. That was. Most of the time I can get a par on that one.
2 more holes.
Yes,
The dripping is in
People
the
say-
game, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I hope so.
It is not in your house. You're good.
Thank
Drip,
you.
drip. It's like it's not even raining outside. I'm
Unless
hearing
it's, you know,
dripping.
you dripping with beauty, and then it definitely is.
I almost made it. I'm not making this joke.
Where the fuck is the? Oh crap! I went the wrong way.
Good job. Proud of you.
So who wants to play Stardew Sunday?
I'm
Fuck
down.
yes,
Mm,
please.
not me.
I
know
actually
it's
think
not
I'm
my group
free.
anyways.
Sweet. You don't want to play Stardew? Michigan?
Rude. Guess it's a girls' one then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Was
that's what I'm
Emily
saying,
mean
go-
to you?
Yeah. I bought her flowers and she threw it right into the trash. And then guess what?
Photos.
Kimono went up and picked
Oh,
it
there,
out of the
please, put
trash and then sold it.
No, I gave it back to her and she took it.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. But I was in denial, so I was just.
Mhm.
You and Clint can go.
Yeah, we're gonna hang out and
Mhm.
drink some beers. And
Oh,
I don't know,
God.
fish
Craft
or
some metal
whatever.
things. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Clint's the fucking worst.
Mm-hmm.
Such a fucking pussy.
Uh huh. His reaction to the green rain was like the whitest night shit I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
That's accurate. I didn't talk to him during the green rain, to be honest.
I forget what he said.
The needle.
What was it again?
It was like, something
Let's
about
see.
how he was there to protect Emily
Oh.
if things went south. And then the day after, he was like, I'm kind of bummed that it wasn't worse so that I couldn't save Emily. Like a
Such a
fucking
I actually told him
weirdo.
to say that.
I Split's
would've
got
done
hit
shit.
twice.
I
Sorry,
would've been
Split.
even the fucking town.
No.
Well, as anything in the damn town. Not anyone but us.
I literally left town to find myself.
Oh no.
No.
Like, Emily, you hurt
I just
me.
keep going up and down this hill like 5 million times.
3 bars at most.
Well, it's like a free slide. You can just keep doing and doing.
Yeah.
We learned today we don't have to spend money to, you know, have her go to like a water slide when she can just do it here.
13. Oh. Okay. Tank one. Congrats.
So close to 69.
Mm-hmm.
Well, close is not good enough.
Thank you for the lyric. I'll keep swinging these golf clubs without you for now. Join Michigan.
I can't. I'm broken.
No.
How so?
My computer blew up, even though I'm on it. I'm just.
You can restart.
No, it's a joke. Like, you know how kids like.
I know.
Kid, like,
I don't know.
like my phone's broken. I apologize. You know?
Hello? There we
Hello.
go.
Hi Jay. Welcome.
What's the password? I'm here.
Lowercase. Lowercase.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
in
in
the
the chat. Yeah,
It's in the chat in the top corner.
yeah, it's 4321.
Okay.
It's lowercase. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lowercase.
Oh, yeah. I got it.
No, I'm good. I'm just gonna heal.
I missed you again.
Emily
There
hurt
we
my feelings, and I'm just trying to focus
I-
up here.
Not Stardew.
No, I just.
Uh-huh.
Her-
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaning over your
You
computer
just
screen.
go after Haley to get back at her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm actually texting a bunch
That's our
of
sister.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sunflowers and pink cake, man.
Yeah, I'm texting her right now. That would be weird. I would feel
Big
such
rubber
like a
room with rats.
weirdo.
And she mean.
Much. Somebody say pizza.
Hmm?
Somebody say pizza. Back have it.
It looks like he's licking the mouse pad. Lennon.
Oh yeah, that picture.
It looked like he was licking the mouse pad when you took a
Oh.
picture.
He might have been.
Sounds like Brooke when she licks literally everything.
Well, he usually only licks when there's either tobacco or plastic, but there's neither, so. Nothing to
Aw.
do.
Why tobacco?
So
Black.
he used to, like back when John used to smoke, he used to take his cigarettes out of his pocket and try to eat them.
Weird.
Oh
And
my
a-
god.
Yum.
Yeah, he's a little weirdo. Crowley, not Thor.
Oh, of course.
Well, yeah, I think both of them. Yeah, both of the Thors.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thor doesn't eat plastic though.
Well, as of what you know, yeah.
Which one or both?
He has told me all the secrets.
Both.
And he said when you're sleeping,
Puddles will literally eat anything and everything. If it fits in his mouth.
He
and
thinks
it
he's a
seems like
dog.
something- He really
Thor's the
does.
good one.
well, one.
I mean both. It's not about the cat.
Like if I'm ever at your house, I'm sleeping on that red chair because I'm gonna get all the animals.
Well, the cats get locked in here at night, so
Yeah, awesome. I'll be Snow
Why?
they'll
White.
be all yours.
I'm gonna be Snow White.
Do we want to get in the wind?
It can be helpful. Depends on which one you go into though.
Oh. That's not what I thought would happen.
Yeah, you want to go towards the little hand.
The strong hand.
Pointers are welcome. Pull the finger. Whoops.
Great job, Rose. Going on a joyride.
I'm not gonna have a good time on this one.
Not me over here saying triple B. Then the Sun Zero, and it's easier to say triple C.
Yeah. I never figure. I keep getting the order mixed up. What is it? Zinless Zone Zero or something? But yeah,
Yeah,
Triple
yeah.
Z. Triple Z all the way sounds better.
Rose, we don't. I'm sorry, Lemon, we don't allow yarning here. It's against.
Oh, fuck.
It's actually it's purgeable.
2 minutes.
And I'm just trying to tell you as a friend.
I appreciate you looking out for me.
Yeah.
He's keeping you out of trouble, right?
Yeah, like. Anyways, cheers, everybody. Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
Until the next times.
Being
I
lame.
gotta stop eating girl dinner. I've had too much.
The way you looked at that bowl, like, I heard it too much.
It's like you want to keep eating it, but you feel worse and worse the more you eat.
Trust me, I would eat it, but I would have to be watching like a movie or something.
My
like, I couldn't
taste
watch
buds are happy, but my belly's like, ugh, no more sugar.
it. If
Is
I'm
this
watching a
full
movie,
send?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that I've been pretty much dieting, so my body's like grossed out by sugar right now because I haven't been eating it nearly as much.
yeah, but just don't ever binge because I know that's the worst.
Well, yeah, I'm basically binging.
Yeah,
It's gross. It's good that my body thinks it's gross right now.
I never really like.
I wonder what that
Hey
looks
Jay, I don't think you need the GP next to your name anymore.
Oh yeah, I got to change that at some point.
You're not there anymore.
Yeah, it should be called.
Ugh.
Shit.
No! I'm just having the hardest time here. Somebody needs to help me.
Well, it's your.
I already got in, or I would.
It's your Rishi brain right now. It's not.
Let's took another whole peanut butter cup. I don't know what you're talking about.
Miss.
You got the biggest.
They're so good too.
I love Reese's. Me and my mom.
Should do Reese's Pieces next time.
No, I love those too. I love all of them.
Yeah, you guys weren't
Randall!
around,
Hi, welcome.
Michigan was.
How are you
but
doing?
There's Assassin's Creed magic cards now.
And obviously,
That's
you
cool.
told your mom about
Right.
that.
No, I have not.
What?
Mhm.
So,
My mom doesn't play magic.
no, but
Ah!
you might enjoy the art. I don't know.
The artwork is nice, but no.
Oh.
Holy cow, that was better than expected.
There's a holy cow up in.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That helped you a little bit.
It did. I'm doing alright. Glad you're back for a second night in a row. Yeah. I'll be back Sunday too. I'm gonna play some Starday Sunday.
Girls' night.
So.
Oh, you should
Cheers.
definitely have. Cheers. You should have your girl snacks where you're doing girl snack.
Well, Sunday I can't eat girl dinner three times in a row on the weekend.
Oh, no,
I'm
you
so
can't.
sick.
We'll
No.
do girl lunch.
Yes.
For what?
Yeah, which is all.
Which is not
Girl
that.
lunch.
Which is peanut butter and jelly. I don't know.
Crunch.
It's Uncrustables. Uncrustables with whipped topping.
Mm.
Oh, sugar.
There about to be something interesting here.
Oh no. I watched 5 streams in a row. Yay.
Now just get good and watch all of them.
That-
I'm at 50.
You're at what?
50 in a row. I
Oh
haven't
my
even
goodness.
one.
You need 69 in a row or else you're not good.
She almost missed one. Mm-hmm.
I'm good almost. this
No,
one.
this is why you started early today, so she might miss it.
Yeah, I know. I was trying because she was taking a nap.
Yeah.
What? I needed it.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, we don't.
I knew I'd still be on when you woke up. I knew you'd be up at 8 and I'd still be on. But yeah, I started like 2 hours early today.
Yeah, you were on ready to go. And I had to.
I had my makeup done, I had all my notifications ready, I had my outfit on, and honestly, it's probably an hour and a half. But still, I was ready. And I was like, I'm doing this. Pushing buttons.
Ah, fuck. Well,
I was
that's
like,
not
people won't be
fun.
ready to play golf, but I'll paint. So I painted for a little bit.
I saw your soul today.
Yes.
No,
Painted the color of my
I feel
soul.
bad saying that, like you're the one that said it first.
I did. I painted the color of my soul. It was a void. It was a void cat in the void.
I'm not gonna lie, without context, that did sound a little creepy.
I know.
It was-
like
It was supposed to be
That's why I
kind
had
of
to-
dark and ominous on purpose. I literally was gessoing canvases black So I started by painting like a black cat with like finger painting a black cat on the first one, and then I just paint the whole canvas black because it's the base coat. And so I was painting a void kitty in the void, the black paint, and the void is my soul because it cats. I love cats so much.
I wasn't just saying I saw the soul.
I know.
I was being all weird and sappy.
This is when she denies it, like, nuh-uh, and I'm the weirdo.
All Michigan.
No,
He's a
what are you
weirdo.
talking about?
I would be like, oh, shoot.
And then I did it again because I just did 2 of them. We did it twice.
No, I should jump again.
I told them that stream now knows there's a cat underneath each one of these paintings. So when I do the Gengar painting, there's technically a cat in there.
I love it.
There's a hidden cat beneath the paint.
There's always a cat.
Mm-hmm.
That angle will work, hopefully.
Stop. Oh.
Oh, wow. That was close.
Very.
You did good.
I would have jumped.
Let's go now.
Oh, I needed to do a lot more than that.
Yeah, I need to aim better. Poor Jay, I just like shoved him down in the hole. Like, get down in there! I jumped on top of him.
Oh.
I
You
jumped
better
on top
like
of him. Poor guy. Jay's losing control over there.
Try not to.
Sorry, Michigan will for you. Just wait.
Pretty much. Oh, wow, what?
No.
I like the
cute,
tail,
look
like
at
it's
that
like
tail.
a dog. Oh, it is like getting happy like a dog.
Look at this.
So, Rando, if you're listening, I know you asked if I had
There
cats
goes.
or pets last night, and I technically don't, but I did feed 7 cats this morning.
She eats cats, that's why she don't have any.
They're my neighbor's cats. I think they have like 14 cats. So I was out there feeding some of their cats, and they have like 3 kittens. Well, that I saw at the moment. There's like a bunch more elsewhere. But that was just one of the mama cat's kittens. I was feeding 2 of the mamas and 3 kittens and 2 of the males. And the other mama's cats, kittens, I think were in the house. And Cindy Diaz, welcome to the stream.
There's also not a bed, Bubbles.
But yeah, mama cat so wanted to come in the house with me.
Aww.
I almost let her on the porch and just hung out with her, but I decided not to. 'Cause I was like already in the mindset of going in the house and
Pay the consequences.
washing my hands because there was like tons of fur. Because she doesn't get brushed or anything. She's like a long-haired Siamese cat, and she's like the most unkept looking cat. Poor
Yeah,
thing
let's
is
say,
just
yeah.
like ragged and skin and bones. Well, she has like litter after litter of kittens. I don't even know how many litters she's had at this point.
So she's a player.
Far too many.
Her.
Mm-hmm.
So sad.
I just want to save her. But
Oh,
would help.
by the way,
she's probably the oldest one over there, because that's
you
your
want-
favorite cat.
I had a bit of fun this morning.
Oh yeah?
We don't want to hear.
Yeah. Got bit.
What bit you?
Snake.
Oh!
Hopefully not
Why
right.
were you messing with snakes?
Do you have
Yeah.
superpowers?
Yeah, it was a rat. Rat snake.
Are you gonna have venom?
Oh, jeez.
No,
At least it was just a rat snake and not a rattlesnake.
Yeah,
Yeah, for real there.
literally.
years ago.
I would have
So,
freaked out. Like,
Yeah,
I'm glad you're okay.
yeah. So I managed to catch the thing, put it in the box, and basically
what did-
took it as far out in the middle of the fucking desert as I could.
Did you scare him or something? Is that how you got bit? Or did you try picking him up?
No, I was cleaning up the backyard and he was right behind the bush. I reached down to grab a load of
Oh.
stuff I was cleaning up, and
well, I told you to
he
back
jumped
off.
Yeah, you
out.
didn't know.
Yeah.
I was bigger
Yeah.
than my tail.
You got
I was
scared.
like,
But yeah, I've had anti-venom before for snakes. This, not a
well,
problem.
each one.
So,
Oh yeah, rat
besides,
snake, you're fine.
we've got adders in the UK and they're a hell of a lot more venomous.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and I have
rat
been
snakes
bitten by
aren't,
one
but
of those.
rattlesnakes are.
They do hurt.
Well, people have to get vaccine from me.
Yeah. That's the
I see it.
little souvenir.
Now you're gonna get a tattoo right there that looks like that.
Well, if
My
you get
experience in America. Tattoo.
Well,
if you get powers, let me know, because
You're gonna go find a snake?
He's gonna get a
I'm
snake
gonna
by a
find it.
tattoo.
And then I find the wrong one and die.
Jay, you're gonna run out of time!
fucker, I wasn't
Magic.
paying attention.
No, his powers are coming in. Come on.
No time.
Priorities!
Wait, where am I going? Oh yeah, okay.
Instead of webs, he has like
Not enough time.
ability to.
Unless you think
Shed skin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, no. Damn it. Weren't paying attention.
You can
It's okay.
snake like in Harry Potter.
Parcel tongue.
Yeah. That sucks. I prefer having webs. But what you gonna? To be fair though, you would have nice skin.
That
though,
bitches.
'cause you're always.
that was close.
Yeah, should have maxed that one.
Well. That's not where I intended to go.
Mono, can you move?
Yeah. Can
Yeah.
You, like, move?
Oh, fuck.
Mother.
Did you do what I did and hit it too hard and went it overboard?
Oh,
No.
twice.
I accidentally just hit the...
Oh, what the heck?
No, Remus's tail just lodged me out of the game.
Really? he was determined.
Man, I wasn't even in
They're-
last.
They're both out to get you and get your attention.
Tail.
Remus!
Well, it's
I told him. To do
tail.
that. I texted him in a little.
I'm trying to see if
But yeah, I
you
got
didn't even do it.
tail like click the mouse, but you can't see the buttons, obviously.
I love your
He's
mouse
playing.
though.
Oh, there we go.
He's playing. He's playing.
He
He's
sees it changing colors when he touches it.
playing. No,
He's doing
actually.
it on purpose. Like,
he's
he
looking at
knows what
the-
he's doing.
He's looking at the dog.
Yeah.
He does that shit.
Well, and when it really, when my hand's on it and his tail goes like really hard,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it makes my finger click.
Oh,
And
kitty.
it just happened to be on the
The beat of the drum.
X button because I don't have it full screen right now. I have it half screen, and
Mhm.
my mouse just happened to be like in that corner where the X is.
No, the cat's looking up at us now, like, ah.
He knows what he did.
It's
That's
like,
what I
oh, you're
did.
still gonna feed me though, right? Oh, a wink. I saw that wink.
You did, you little turd.
He's like, wink.
He knows exactly what he did.
I'm gonna do
Oh,
it again.
100%.
Cats
Like,
are
I
against
demand
me.
more attention, Mom.
No, it's like when you're changing their litter box and they just look at you like a queen.
Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Because I gotta make it dirty. Are you done yet?
I'm gonna
That's
make
what
it
they
dirty.
do.
Oh, Rubus just come in the middle.
You're
I'm
changing
just
it. It's
like
like,
in
hold
the
on.
middle of doing it.
That's funny.
Exactly what happened every time.
No, my cat.
I would always make my cat wait. I was like, ah, no, you don't. You're waiting.
No, my cat will stare at me down. She has like a
I don't have that problem.
like I have to
My
bow down
cats
to
know
her.
They're not allowed to touch it until I'm done.
I'm like, what the heck? Have you been holding it to this moment when I go to clean it to the point that you can't hold it anymore? Is that it?
Absolutely.
They're gonna go right next to it, like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
They're like, I'm gonna hold it, I'm gonna hold it, I'm gonna hold it. They're gonna clean it, I'm gonna hold it.
I guess it pays to be a cat. You get food, you get humans to clean your.
Shit up for you.
Yeah, and
You get to lay on people's desks and fuck with their.
Yeah.
and you can't do anything because they're so cute. It's just like.
I'd say indoor cats have it made. Outdoor cats, not so much. Say my neighbor's cats.
Yeah, they're.
I have way too much anxiety to let my cats outside. So.
I always wanted to get a harness and just see what she.
I'm sure they have their own anxiety about it too.
Yeah, it's a whole
I'm
new
sure.
world. It's a whole new. It is a whole new-
Oh.
I always wanted to get a harness and just, but in reality, she'll probably go outside and just sit down in the middle of it.
She's just gonna lay it down. She'll be like, oh, fall over.
I'm hoping either later this year or at some point next year we'll be able to go to Florida and visit Dalton's dad again and take the doggo and the kitties. That's the plan. He said that the dog was
Cool.
welcome, and so we're taking the cats too.
It was like, well, at one point.
You're gonna drive?
It's gonna- Yeah. Oh yeah.
Why not?
Alright, I don't remember which way I'm going. I'm lost. It's this way, right?
I took a train for 17 hours because I'm afraid of flying. But we won't talk about this.
It's way harder to fly with animals.
Well, you guys might have to stop at my house on the way. If you're gonna drive.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and get Dalton to do that. 'Cause I think that'd be interesting.
Hey, what's up, Kimono?
Flip over.
I mean, it would save you for the next, what, 5-hour stretch or 10-hour is it maybe? Or 6 hours?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, obviously, you probably divide the drive. Because distances.
Mm.
I'm planning to have a huge road trip here soon.
What's
World
it?
tour.
Yeah, more American.
I'm struggling today. What the fuck?
I don't know.
Degree, you're still in the lead.
Sorry, all I see is the dog. I want to pet a dog.
She's so sweet. You
Well,
will
the
love
thing
her.
is Monty likes me, so it shouldn't be too bad.
I'm gonna go
Literally.
sleep. I'm gonna sleep with all the dogs.
Monty just loves everyone, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Anyone
like,
who will
what?
give him attention.
You're another human? What? What's up?
Literally.
He's a good
If
boy.
someone was
Puddles will
gonna-
disappear into the void though if you let him out. So. Don't know where he was.
My cat's studying me right now. It's like,
Yeah. We'd probably keep Puddles in the car if we talk.
no, I'm gonna hug it, even though I'm not even close to it, sort of. But
He'd freak out or he'll die.
Mm-hmm.
I'll hug him and he'll bite me.
More than likely.
It's like in chat you can just write bite. I didn't know bite was this hard.
So afraid of everything.
I got bit after my cat actually was eating a bird, and my whole leg swelled up. Maybe that's why my juices are so strong. I don't know. So, I probably got the flu, the bird flu.
What?
Don't. Yeah.
But anyways, I was telling Sean though, like, if I do go, to your area, I'm gonna take, cause I'm planning to maybe buy a boat, and then maybe we
Oh,
can
there you
to,
go.
like Lake Erie or whatever.
Boats are expensive though.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
Ontario, or we could go to the Clear Lakes.
No, I have my own what's going on in life. But yeah, like I'm
Might be
saying,
a better shark one, maybe. Charter one.
no, I'm just saying I will have. That'd be nice, but fucking fish. I'm gonna let you try some. Just kidding.
I messed
Just
up.
crash my boat. Just kidding.
What?
Oh, I'll time that one.
You don't want me driving a boat.
Oh,
I'll tell you that right now.
I'm stuck.
After a while.
Maybe
I'm
like Step
stuck.
Brothers where you crash it. Like,
It are.
I'm literally stuck. I can't move.
we'll just have to have.
Oh,
a
you're the
nice
only one left.
sober person on it.
Hey, you can't hit R.
I'm gonna. I'll try my best.
That was so weird though. I was stuck on the edge of the hole.
Got caught in the flat.
And I win.
That would be so fun. And you would love Leo. She's
Oh dear, we lost a few.
I did, Rin.
what
No,
a
we
plot
lost you.
twist. Not.
Uh-huh. I blame cats.
If I hadn't gotten kicked out by Remus, you know I would have
Mm-hmm.
totally won.
That is actually a good.
No,
I'm gonna propose.
This
to
is
I
you.
don't
why
think
I.
that's-
This
I've
is why
ever
my.
won a game of golf.
This is
It's
why.
been a really long time for me. That was the first one in a while that I've won.
This is why
I'm happy
my
with that.
computer decided, 'cause I was too good at the game, so my computer said to.
Mm.
Yep. I feel dumb.
Yeah, I know. Like we are too good at this game. I feel bad sometimes.
It's
but
true.
We play it every Friday, don't we?
Oh my god.
Not like.
I
Almost.
just realized what Insidious' little heart emote is, and I fucking love it.
Hello?
The little
Hello.
spell book holding the heart.
Oh yeah. The city heart. Cute. Cute.
Can I steal those? They're so freaking cute.
Well, anyways, my good purchase would be a boat here soon, or next couple months.
That'd be
If
awesome.
life works the way it should.
Which it really does.
Is that the kicker?
And Simi Diaz
I want
last
both.
streamed 19 days ago.
Well, there's a lot of things I can
Right?
say.
I think
about
you need.
that.
I think you need to get in Simi Diaz shout outs. since you noticed the little spell
Say
book.
prepare for the worst.
Ugh.
And be
Make
expected
me
to
work.
Yeah.
or vice
yeah.
versa. Expect the worst, prepare for the best. And you will never be disappointed.
I'm always just kidding.
Let's see. Whee! Alright, doing things and stuff.
Well, y'all day tomorrow, so I'm gonna sign off.
You're done? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take-
It
Take care.
is.
Yeah,
That's me.
Alright.
I have an early day tomorrow, so.
Okie dokie.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Hey, thank you for playing.
No, it,
And then. Let's see. And then there were 4 of us. Michigan!
I think we should
Michigan!
remake the lobby. Just in case.
Oh, you think that's why you can't get on?
Well, that or there's an update that needs
You're
to happen.
welcome into medias.
I can check if there's an update.
You've
Give
been
me a
dealing
second.
with
I'll
sleep
say it might be
issues?
booting everybody due
No.
to that.
Hope you can get some sleep
Okay.
soon.
No update.
Okay. So,
Uh,
might just be connection issues.
mm.
Mm.
But yeah, I've got no updates on my end. So.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So you're saying
no.
you can't get on? Or, no, Tank, you're in.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm in. Michigan's not.
No.
Yeah, he didn't want to.
Yeah, I broke my legs.
No,
Three.
the only reason I was cleaning up backyard earlier on was because Mrs. is coming home on Sunday, so got so
Gotta
but
clean
she's
up a
going to
bit.
get a bit of a surprise when she gets back.
Aw, because you had it all cleaned
What you
up.
got in store?
No, I've been doing a lot of the repairs.
That and she's
Repair
gonna
work
see your
stuff at
your
the-
snake bites and she's gonna scream at you.
Well,
Well,
after
that,
today,
yeah.
she's no
Yeah, start
snake in the
calling you
backyard
the-
whatsoever.
Snake. Anyways, guys, I'm
Honestly.
probably gonna.
Definitely
That
don't need
snake
no
would
snakes in the
keep
yard
right
with little ones on the way.
Well, at the very
I'm gonna
least, they
leave,
keep
guys.
away the
But everybody
rats
take care.
and the mice.
Hi, Michigan.
Yeah, bye.
Good night, Michigan.
Yeah, later.
Good night, buddy.
Yeah, later.
But yeah,
Let's
black
see.
rat snakes. Great for keeping away mice and such.
Oh, jeez.
Tell you something, no, that one bloody hurt when it bit though.
Well, yeah, they have to grip the
It's fun.
varmints somehow. You have any idea how many small.
I mean, they don't bite
snakes-
softly. That's for
mice
sure.
can get through?
Well, it's the first time I've been bit by a snake in the US anyway, so that's
Grab it
Oh.
behind the head next time while it's not looking.
Sounds painful though.
mm,
And make sure you have a good grip behind the jaws.
I would have been scared.
I
Just
deal with
saying.
grass snakes all the time. They just leave me alone after I put them back down.
I just grabbed it by the neck, gave it a tap on the
Yeah,
head,
a little
and it
too low.
calmed down.
That'd be right behind the head.
Museum.
But yeah, I'm not worried about snakes.
As long as they're not venomous, you mean?
One day
Even
we'll be able to
if they're
get the
venomous,
last
I
hole
don't-
on this thing.
I'm not worried about
Um,
them.
I'm just saying, man, you're a ways from any hospitals.
There is a hospital out this way.
I didn't know.
Hey,
Don't know
sir.
what
I
I-
saw it on the maps, there aren't that many large ones, though.
No, the biggest one near here is either Vegas or
Hey, I'm coming. I
Phoenix.
just had to
uh,
throw away the
Yeah,
bottle.
Phoenix is a while away from you.
mhm.
Yeah.
Jay.
I'm coming. Just gotta get my mouse pad
Yeah,
back.
sorry, was not paying attention again.
Jay. It's okay. That's why I kept saying Jay. I wanted to
Yeah.
time you out this time.
I got a hole in one now.
You're alright, Peaches.
There you go.
God, I forgot I hate this one so much. I went too far.
Oh,
Mhm.
Over there.
I think I know what I need to do
Jump to the left toward the flag. Jump over the wall.
Yeah, but cut it closer to the right than the
Yeah,
left.
There
there
we
you
go.
go.
Got it.
Hit the wall.
I did it. I
Or
just.
if you overshoot the corner.
Michigan trying to
remember
lick
that
people.
next time.
No, you're on video.
Oh no! That's a problem.
Like it.
I totally messed that one up, but you did really good.
I think it's gonna get hit me on the way through.
Hmm.
Those are hole in one.
It's been so long since I played this one, I forget all the tricks.
Mostly just where you land the ball, I think, on these funnels. You use it like you would a vertical half pipe or a tunnel. And you just hit one side or the other depending on which way you want to come out.
Mm-hmm.
This one I don't even bother with the pendulums.
I just go straight through.
Yeah, you went straight through and got like a hole in one, didn't you?
Hole in two. Good eagle.
Could have done a full send on that one, but that's fine.
You'll remember the timing for next time, at least.
Maybe.
It is not straight. Don't go just straight. I'm dumb. I'm not dumb. Don't listen to me.
Take an extra step now.
There you go.
Yeah, this one's not an easy one. These dang teeth.
Well, I have to stick to the left.
No! How did they go up and under?
You bounced on landing.
Oh, nope. Dang it. So I tried not to give it as much this time, and then I went down anyway.
There you go.
See?
Oh no! I think
That's
it's
what I
because
did.
you hit the rim at the front.
We'll just try to go to the side a little bit. That helps.
There you go.
Oh,
It's like, like, what the heck? You can tell I don't play this one much.
It's okay. Probably has the most shortcuts aside from Pyramid.
Hank?
Sorry, lady. I didn't see you behind the wall.
Jay!
Sorry.
You're a ghost, lady. We can't see you.
I have a fucking airplane above my head.
It's still really hard to spot. I do
Well, get
apologize.
good.
I have 20/20 vision.
No.
I
it's
do
not-
I don't
not
think
see
you
it
do.
very well. It's for 2020, but yeah. One of my eyes is orbed, so if I focus, I get 2020. But it's still really incredibly hard to see that plane.
It's not that hard.
Let's go. Butterfree. Alright, tell me I was too late. Nope, I made it. See if we can poke catch Butterfree.
Okay, good. Ah,
No.
fuck.
Oh, a bit harder.
Fried.
Oh, still not harder. Okay, one more try.
I just want to go over this way and cheat. It's not gonna let me, is it?
Yeah, well, you just have to get good.
Slightly to the right of the far
There.
corner. Going backwards.
There. Birdie.
Really
No, I
hard
had to
make
do
though.
4 tries.
Oh, this one's easy.
Yeah, if you
No!
don't go too hard.
You don't hit the wall.
And that is what I just did.
The wall's like an illusion, and you can't tell how close it is.
Mind me, I'm just wasting strokes.
Sometimes you hit the one on the left as hard as you can, right? Yeah. The one on the left gets you almost to the hole. Hype, 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 Six! Thanks for the hype in chat. Oh, I hit the wall.
Same. Ooh.
Okay, that actually helped me a little bit.
There we go. Don't go off, don't go off, don't go. Aw, dang it.
Glad I landed
Just
on
a
top.
little bit too much speed. There.
You're overthinking it, Jay.
Yeah, I know.
It's easy to do on that one. Yeah, and this one just do a tiny bit when it's up. Just a tiny bit on the updraft.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, I was trying to get a bloody hole in one from the start of it, so.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah,
No
it weren't
way.
working out for me.
Oh, fuck, shit.
What was that?
River bread.
Keep in mind, the sand slows you down.
Mm-hmm.
So close.
Hello, G.
Marie.
Can you butt me in, Mono?
Probably. Oh, I tried.
Damn it.
Now I ran into a ghost.
I got a par. Oh, we did. Oops. Not what I wanted.
Yeah. I went back over there.
Ah.
Ah! Yeah. I'm just gonna waste a turn and get over here.
Don't you dare. Damn it.
I made it back to the beginning.
Bang.
I've had some pretty crazy shots on this one, like hitting the underside of the beams overhead.
Oh yeah. Too far, Jay.
Yeah, I know.
There you go. Now just easy.
It's a much shallower ramp than it appears, I agree.
Mm-hmm. I love rain swimming. Love her, Nessie.
Can she do it in 40 seconds?
Yes.
Probably not. We'll find out.
She's alright.
If she takes more baby shots, she will. No more freaking out. Gotta do baby shots. Whoa! How did you ride the edge like that and climb over?
I don't know.
She did some skater moves on that wall.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that's called. That was a skater move.
Where am I going?
To the right, down. It's a hole in one.
Oh, it's too late now.
Was a hole in one. Bang.
Yeah.
Hello.
It's not an easy hole in one to get. I will tell you that.
I got a par.
There we go.
I just went the wrong way.
Yeah, Tank's turn.
Oh, other way.
All
Right.
right, Tank. To the right is your flag. Over your shoulder and
Okay.
down the bank.
Like that.
I forgot. Man.
There you go. We all made it. Rain, look at those points.
I know. I'm not gonna get it though. Ah, fucking shit.
Okay. Well, that didn't go how I wanted it to. Neither did that one. Dang it.
Back to square one for me, I guess.
Ah! I keep doing that.
No.
I was doing good until I couldn't make the little ramp right there at the end, like, took me 3 tries.
Been worse.
Oh, Jay. Jay might get 69.
You might.
Doubtful, but it might happen.
Ah, I hit a wood block thingy. I messed it up.
So not
Almost had a hole in one there.
Water. It's okay.
too straight.
Why did it give me 2 strokes? I mean, for Pete's sake. That should have been a birdie at least.
Wait, aw. I jumped over the hole.
I would around it.
Jay's gonna get
Close there, Jay.
69.
That's if he can get this one in 2.
No, I don't think anybody can. This one's a pain in the
I
butt.
can maybe get it in 3 without cheating. Assuming I make it over these hurdles in one go.
Oh, hang on, who bumped me?
Mhm. I hate this one so much.
Okay. Kimono.
Okay.
There we go.
You have to hit the box.
Yeah.
You have to hit the box,
Yeah.
so.
I got a bogey for it.
Nope, it didn't hit the box.
No, I struggle. Don't put too much of an angle on it.
Wow.
I would say
That's
do
what I
less
did.
force. You're hitting the ceiling.
Just missed the box, but I made it.
There you go.
That's one way to do it. Well,
Congrats,
I
Jake.
won. I got the most points.
You know what? I'm proud of us though. Nobody got timed out.
Yeah.
Nobody ran out of strokes.
What do you normally do on that one?
I know, nobody ran out of strokes. I'm proud of us. That's usually what happens.
Yeah, it's a win.
But I think that's it. I'm tired.
I agree. It's getting
That's a
late.
lot of golf. Thank you for the drink water.
Oh wow, someone had some fireworks left over, it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's Saturday or Friday. Yeah, you're gonna hear them again tomorrow too, probably. But yo, thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for playing golf. Thank you guys who are lurking and listening. And thank you for the drink water. And I
You're
hope
welcome.
you guys have a wonderful rest of your Friday. And I will see you guys Sunday as we play some Stardew. So, play some Stardews. Some relaxing, chill Stardews. Probably start around 3. Start early. So, that way we can crash early for the week. But, good night, everyone. Good night, chat. But yeah, good night, all.